Sorry the lighting and photo quality is so shit. I wanted to switch to my computer because I'm on a little bit of a roll on reading poetry from 8 years ago. And I was running out of storage space on my phone until I post some stuff and I'm able to delete it. So this poem is from December in 2016. From what I remember at that time, I was still pretty freshly sober, and I can tell in this poem I was dealing with my first breakup sober, and but there was some parts in it that just had me thinking, like, yeah, that's what it fucking feels like to be autistic and to not have the language for it. It just, language for things is so important. Language for things is the difference of, in a lot of cases, like, feeling like you're crazy or not. Because if you're experiencing something, but everyone tells you that it's wrong or stupid or bad or non-existent that you're experiencing it, which some people are comfortable telling you, no, you're not experiencing the thing that you're telling me you experience, which is fucking wild. But if you don't have a strong sense of self, like, that shit fucking buries you. Anyway, sorry for the long tangent. I could tell that I was in a place. Also, I wrote this before my transition and before I was out as trans. So I do refer to myself in an autobiographical way with the she, her pronouns, and I considered changing it because, I don't know, maybe I'll fuck with it when I read through. I have been working on being able to see all parts of my life as having been male. Because I'll try to look at a certain part of my life through that lens and recognize myself as a male, like, in those situations and at that time. And at first I'll have such an aversion because that was just, like, nowhere in my self-awareness at the time. And then I imagine a gay guy needing to fill the roles in life that I was filling. I'm like, that's pretty much as bad as I would have expected that. And I feel less, I don't know, feel more connected with myself throughout my life, for sure. Feel a lot more compassion through the rougher parts. 4 minutes in, let's get into it. Alright. The experiment that went wrong. Too many times this has happened over and over. I've failed expectations without knowing what they were. I just wanted to take any shiny little thing to prove I hate myself, so you won't feel the need to tell me. I already knew. Neurotic, unable to integrate appropriately, but you can expect me to navigate appropriate shame in response to all the perceived suffering I convince myself I put you through. I'm condemned, my love. You can be frank. Really, I know I wasn't worth remembering and you forgot. I'm really not who I had meant to be, but roadblocks like epitaphs written on my memories tell me to freeze, that I'm doing it all wrong. When I'm alone, no one sees how brilliant or pathetic, useful or useless I really seem to be. There's all this I see as inherent value in you, in me, and that most people can't accept. I can't accept what it is in me most of the time. Ecstatic, tragic. What good am I now? To whom? For what? And am I too late? And why do I keep bothering when all that's wrong in you and me, I don't have an answer for it or even a name. And still sometimes I can't slow down or ask what place I may have made a wrong turn. Now here I am alone again and sulking. Well timed. And why couldn't I resist you and leave good and private well enough alone? I don't even have an excuse for myself in your eyes, just too young, too tragic, too dysfunctional. Lord knows you didn't do it for love. It's not a currency you were willing to accept. And it's not because I'm worth it most of the time. You adopted me as your constant struggle, and why would I ask to see if you want to make this work when the only purpose would be to succeed? Did I never deserve to live comfortably? No, not even once. It was clear before I left the womb, I guess. Oh no, not this one. We can't return her anywhere. She's far too precious and far too strange. She comes from a land where she herself is her own currency. And she loves neurotically, can't you see? And she'll hear your heartbeat miles away and tell you it sounded the most melancholy sad. And you'll be colorblind to her eyes, won't know the fights in her mind, and she'll back away, peaceful surrender, so you can freely choose not to love her. And she'll wonder how the crack in the grain of wood by your stairs is faring, and hope that you take care of the splinters in the size of your fingers after you eradicate her from your life. And she'll know she wasn't meant to exist drunken and wasn't meant to exist sober, and all the lights and people noise will sullen chase and silently fight to overwhelm her senses. And most of all, on top of wondering why she was born and if she'll chase that question to oblivion, she'll wish you didn't remember her or your place in each other's lives. It'd be all right to bear knowing everything she'd done, if only no one else still held pieces of her, merciless thoughts refusing to die in memory. She'd blot them out if she could, and maybe then would live more freely. My baby! So I just want to mention a thought that I had really clearly recently. I was talking to somebody on Tinder. I have deleted the app again. That's what I do, and without having met them or exchanged phone numbers or anything. But a thought that I had really clearly when I was talking to this person for a couple of days. And dude, I don't know. Now is not the right time and place to say it, but I'm going to. And it's that, man, a part of me, every time I kind of like learn what my tribe is, like within my personal intersectionality, there is a part of me that always just wants to be like, now I know my tribe, and I'll find my tribe, and I'll like, if I meet other people in my tribe, like, they'll be like me, and we'll make sense to each other. And I totally have those experiences and have had those experiences, right? But it I guess in some ways, in some cases, it had to do with intersectionality, but like, it's much more a thing that I know it when I see it. I feel it as soon as I experience it. But I matched with another non-binary trans guy. Which usually I'm not into my type. I'm not into me and other people. I want something different from me as a partner, right? I'm still gay, but But I don't know. I was hoping that they would be like they just weren't at the level of having done the same kind of work on themselves that I've done. I guess that's sort of a flex. It's like, yes, I continue to have no friends. But they're the kind of person who had a couple days of like really great intense conversations with, and I had that with like another person recently. That kind of the same thing happened, that like I was trying to gauge a place of like, hey, I had to come to an agreement with myself that I would use non-manipulative language. Non-manipulative, sorry, my enunciation was not crisp in that. Non-manipulative language, and that it kind of completely pulled the gravity out of my entire life, and I've been like working on putting things back into order. And that's been part of my codependency addiction healing. I've realized that's definitely the most like powerful and ingrained addiction that I have. I've realized that it is an addiction. And I realize that it's very prevalent in our culture. I am not a minority. I'm a minority in multiple other ways, but not with codependency. It's just people are really fucking blind to themselves. And anyway, they were the kind of person that I was like trying to have this discussion of like, hey, I put a lot of effort into and a lot of precedence into not having an ego where I show up. And a year and a half ago that would have been impossible. But I know where I am now, right? Not perfect, not where I want to be, but damn. And there's like the kind of person who was like, oh yeah, I'm not manipulative at all, I'm a white guy, I'm succeeding. It was that energy, and I'm just like, thought maybe you'd be exempt. Like me. Anyway, so the point that I was initially going to make was I can tell with this poem where I was with a certain thought process because I told them about it, and I was saying that I realized something way before I was prepared to accept it. And what I realized was that your life stays tangled up with whoever you've tangled it up with for the rest of your life. You don't need to be in contact with that person, but that space and time, however it shaped or colored your existence and your experience and your growth, because the people around you are always going to influence how you grow and how you be. And I was going through a time in my life where I was beginning to just know that. And it's like, I just broke up with this shitty guy that I got involved with. And that can refer to most of them, unfortunately. But realizing like, this was a tributary to my river, and it stays in my river forever. And I really rejected that. I really was resistant to that thought, and it took me until really recently, almost a decade later, to realize that it's still, those times are still very much a part of me. And I can see that I was towards the beginning of understanding that when I wrote this poem. Cheers.